Jake Morrison stood in the giant meeting hall of the Galactic Council. The room was huge, bigger than any building on Earth. Hundreds of alien creatures sat in floating chairs around him. Some had tentacles, others had 4 arms, and many looked like nothing he had ever seen before. They all stared at him with their strange eyes. Jake felt tired, very tired. For 3 whole years, he had been the human representative to this council. 3 years of listening to aliens tell humans what they could and could not do. 3 years of being treated like children who needed to be watched all the time. The meeting today was about new rules for humans. Again, the aliens wanted to limit how many star systems humans could live in. They wanted to control human trade. They wanted to decide what humans could build and where they could go. Jake looked at his notes. Humans had done so much good in the galaxy. When the terrible Nexus Wars started, human soldiers fought bravely. They saved millions of alien lives. When the deadly void plague spread across dozens of worlds, human doctors found the cure. When planets were running out of food, human farmers taught them new ways to grow crops. But none of that seemed to matter to the council. Counselor? Vexic was speaking now. He was a Zeltharian, which meant he looked like a giant octopus with too many eyes. His voice came out of a machine that translated his thoughts into words other species could understand. Humans are still new to galactic society, Vexic said. His mechanical voice sounded cold and unfriendly. They are too aggressive, too quick to fight. They need guidance from older, wiser species. Jake felt his hands make fists. He forced himself to stay calm. Counselor Vexic, he said. Humans have been part of this council for 3 years. We have followed every rule. We have helped in every crisis. What more do we need to prove? A creature that looked like a walking tree made a sound like wind through leaves. The translator turned it into words. Humans reproduce too quickly. They spread 2 new worlds too fast. This makes other species nervous. We helped the Corvian people when their son was dying, Jake said. We gave them new technology to save their world. We taught the Aquatic Collective how to build better underwater cities. We shared our medical knowledge with 17 different species. Yes, yes, said another alien. This one had blue skin and 6 arms. But you humans always want something in return. You want trade deals. You want mining rights. You want equal votes in the council. Jake could not believe what he was hearing. Of course we want fair trade. Of course we want equal treatment. We are not asking for special favors. We just want to be treated the same as everyone else. The hall filled with strange sounds. Alien languages mixed together as hundreds of creatures talked at once. The translator system struggled to keep up. Jake could hear bits and pieces of different conversations. Humans are too ambitious. They think they know better than us. 3 years is nothing. We have been here for thousands of years. We should be grateful we let them join at all. Jake felt something break inside him. All the patience he had built up over 3 years suddenly disappeared. He had tried to be diplomatic. He had tried to be understanding. He had tried to work within their system, but it was never going to be enough. The aliens would never see humans as equals. They would always see them as dangerous children who needed to be controlled. He stood up from his chair. The hall slowly became quiet as aliens realized the human was going to speak again. I have listened to this council for 3 years, Jake said. His voice was steady, but inside he was shaking with anger. I have watched you debate and argue about what humans can and cannot do. I have heard you talk about us like we are animals in a zoo. Some of the aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Others made noises that the translator could not convert. 2 words. You want to limit us to 12 star systems, Jake continued. 12 systems for 3 billion humans. The Zeltharians have 47 systems for 500 million people. The hegemony controls 62 systems. But humans can only have 12. The situations are different, Vexic protested. Those species have proven themselves over centuries. We proved ourselves in the Nexus Wars, Jake shot back. Oh, we proved ourselves. When we cured the Void Plague. We proved ourselves every time we helped you solve problems that you could not solve alone. He gathered his papers and his data tablets. Around the hall, aliens watched him with curiosity in growing concern. "You know what?" Jake said. "I am done trying to prove anything to you. Humans are done being your junior partners. We are done begging for scraps from your table. We are done letting you treat us like we are less than you." The hall became completely silent. Even the soft humming of the translation machine seemed to stop. Jake looked around the room one last time. He saw hundreds of alien faces staring. At him, some looked shocked. Others looked angry. A few looked almost scared. "Effective immediately," Jake said. "Humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council. We are leaving. All of us. Every human diplomat, every human trader, every human engineer, every human doctor, every human family living in council space." He started walking toward the exit. His footsteps echoed in the huge, silent room. "You cannot do this," Vexthic called. "After him, you have obligations. You have contracts." Jake stopped at the door and turned around. "We had obligations to each other. You broke them first." Then he walked out, leaving behind 847 very worried alien representatives who were just beginning to understand what they had lost. Captain Lisa Rodriguez stood on the bridge of her spaceship, the New Horizon. Through the big front window, she could see hundreds of human ships floating in space. Big cargo ships, small family vessels, military destroyers, and science ships. All waited for her signal. This was the largest movement of people in galactic history. 3 billion humans were leaving council space and going home to human worlds. Lisa had been chosen to lead the evacuation fleet because she was one of the best captains in the human space navy. "Captain," said Danny Walsh. Her communications. "Officer, we are getting messages from 17 different alien species. They all sound very worried." Lisa looked at the data screen showing all the human ships. There were over 8,000 vessels in her fleet alone. More fleets were leaving from other parts of council space. "What are they saying, Danny?" "Corvians are begging us to stay. They say their atmospheric processors will stop working without human engineers. The Spiral Federation is offering us double pay to keep our trade routes open. The medical station on Proxima 7 says they need our doctors to stay." Lisa smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Too late for that now. Send the same message to all of them. No reply? Radio silence. They can figure things out on their own. On the planet below, Dr. Amanda Foster was packing her laboratory equipment. She had spent 2 years working on council worlds, helping alien scientists understand diseases that affected multiple species. Her lab was full of research that could save millions of lives. Her alien co-workers stood around watching her pack. They looked confused and scared. "Amanda, please," said Dr. Thelmos, a four-armed scientist she had worked with for months. "You cannot take all this research with you. The Centauri plague cure is not finished. People will die without your work." Amanda closed another storage box and sealed it. "Then maybe you should have thought about that before your government voted to restrict human rights." "But the research belongs to the council," Thelmos protested. "You developed it using council resources." Amanda turned to face him. Her voice was calm but firm. "I developed it using my brain and my knowledge. The council just gave me a place to work. Every major breakthrough in this research came from human medical science that we shared freely with you." She picked up her personal belongings and headed. "For the door, you had 3 years to learn from us. You chose to spend that time treating us like children instead." Back in space, Lisa received a priority message from Earth Command. It was from Admiral Connor Blake, the head of human military forces. "All human personnel are to withdraw immediately," the message said. "No exceptions, no delays. Bring everyone home." Lisa turned to her navigation officer. "How long until all?" "Ships are ready to leave. 6 more hours, Captain. Civilian ships need more time to load their families and belongings." "Make it for hours," Lisa ordered. "I want to be gone before the council tries to stop us." On Council Prime, the main, Government Planet Chairman Coltherin was having an emergency meeting with his top advisors. The large alien looked like a combination of a lizard and a bird. His scales were turning dark colors, which meant he was very stressed. "How many humans are actually leaving?" he asked. His aide, A floating jellyfish-like creature consulted her. Datapad? All of them, sir. Every human diplomat, trader, engineer, doctor, teacher, and family member. The evacuation fleets are enormous. This is impossible, Coltheron said. They cannot just abandon their contracts and obligations. Apparently they can, sir. Ambassador Morrison's statement was very clear. Humanity is withdrawing completely from Council space. Coltheron made a sound like an angry bird. Get me a direct communication link to their fleet commanders. We need to negotiate. We have tried, sir. All human vessels are maintaining radio silence. They're not responding to any communications. On the mining world of Kepler Station, human engineer Carl Henderson was shutting down the quantum mining equipment. This was some of the most advanced mining technology in the galaxy. It could extract rare metals from asteroids without damaging them. His alien supervisor, a rock-like creature named Borthik, watched nervously. Carl, you must show our engineers how to operate this equipment before you leave, Borthik said. Carl laughed. I spent 6 months trying to teach your people how this works. They said human technology was too complicated, and they would develop their own version. But we have not finished developing our version yet. Not my problem anymore, Carl said. He pressed several buttons, and the mining equipment powered down. Good luck figuring it out. Throughout Council space, similar scenes were happening on hundreds of worlds. Human farmers were leaving the agricultural planets where they had doubled crop production. Human doctors were closing medical facilities where they had saved thousands of lives. Human engineers were shutting down power plants and communication systems they had built. Captain Pete Morrison, Gake's younger brother, commanded the human military withdrawal from the border systems. His fleet of warships had been protecting Council worlds from pirates and hostile aliens for 2 years. Sir, his tactical officer reported, the defense grid around the outer colonies will go offline when we leave. Those systems will be completely unprotected. Pete looked at the tactical display showing 12 worlds that depended on human military protection. Send them a message. Tell them they have 6 hours to evacuate or set up their own defenses. What about the Zirithi pirates? Intelligence reports say they are already moving toward the shipping lanes. It's not our responsibility anymore, Pete said. The Council wanted to limit human military presence. Now they can see what that looks like. Back on the New Horizon, Lisa received the final reports from all evacuation fleets. Every human ship was loaded and ready to leave. Captain Danny reported, we are receiving urgent messages from the Council. They want to arrange an emergency meeting with Ambassador Morrison. Lisa looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human colony ships were heading home to human space. Behind them, they were leaving a galaxy that had taken their help for granted. Send one final message to Council Prime, she ordered. Tell them if they want to talk to humans, they know where to find us. She turned to her pilot. Take us home. Massive human fleet turned away from Council space and jumped to faster than light speed. Behind them, aliens were just beginning to realize what they had lost. 3 weeks had passed since the humans left Council space. The first major crisis hit the Helix Nebula mining operation on a Tuesday morning. Mining. Supervisor Krelzak stared at the control panel in confusion. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. The massive automated mining machines had stopped working. These machines were supposed to dig rare metals from the asteroid belt without any help from workers. What is happening? Krelzak asked his assistant. The central computer system is not responding, the assistant replied. The mining robots have shut down. Your processing plants are offline. Krelzak tried pressing different buttons, but nothing worked. The mining operation employed 50,000 aliens from 12 different species. It was one of the most important metal sources in the galaxy. Call the human technician, Krelzak ordered. Sir, the humans are gone. Remember they all left 3 weeks ago? Krelzak felt cold fear in his stomach. The mining operation used a combination of alien and human technology. The aliens understood their own machines, but the humans had connected everything together with their advanced computer systems. Get me the engineering manual, he said. His assistant brought a thick book written by the human engineers. Krelzak opened it and tried to read the instructions. The words made no sense to him. The humans had written about quantum processors and bioneural networks. These were concepts his people did not understand. On the underwater world of Aquatica, Counselor Murtagen was facing a similar problem. Her people lived in giant glass cities on the ocean floor. The cities were beautiful, with flowing designs that looked like sea plants. But now the life support systems were failing. The water filtration units are breaking down, her chief engineer reported. The artificial currents that bring fresh water to the cities have stopped working. Murtagen looked at the diagnostic screens. Half the readings showed error messages she had never seen before. What about the backup systems? Those are failing too. The human technician Carl Henderson warned us this would happen if we did not maintain the bioneural networks properly. Bioneural networks? Living computer systems that the humans designed for us? They use a combination of organic brain, tissue, and electronic circuits. Our people never learned how to repair them. Murtagen felt panic rising in her chest. 2 million of her people lived in these underwater cities. If the life support failed, they would all die. Meanwhile, on Kepler Station, the largest trading hub in the galaxy, chaos was spreading. The universal translation system was breaking down. Station Commander Vexterul watched in horror as fights broke out in the marketplace. Different alien species could not understand each other anymore. The computer that translated thousands of languages was making mistakes. The hegemony trade representative thinks the Spiral Federation insulted his mother, his security chief reported. But the translation system turned good morning into your family smells like rotted fish. Fix the translator, Vextoril ordered. We cannot, sir. The translation matrix uses human-designed artificial intelligence, learns new languages, and updates itself automatically. Without the human programmers to maintain it, the system is slowly forgetting how to translate correctly. 3 merchant ships had already left the station in anger. More were threatening to go. If the translation problems continued, trade between species would become impossible. On the border worlds, Military Commander Zeftel received terrible news. His defense systems had gone completely dark. Sir, the early warning sensors have stopped working, his communications officer reported. The shield generators are offline. Automated defense platforms are not responding to our commands. Zeftal looked at the tactical display. 12 populated worlds lay exposed to attack. The human military had been protecting these systems for 2 years with their advanced technology. What about our own defensive systems? We have basic shields and some weapons, but nothing like the integrated defense network the humans built. For us, as if the universe was listening, new contacts appeared on the edge of sensor range. Zirathi pirate ships were moving toward the undefended shipping lanes. How many ships are coming? Zeftal asked. At least 30 pirate vessels, sir, maybe more behind them. The Zirathi pirates were known throughout the galaxy for their cruelty. They attacked merchant ships, stole cargo, and sold prisoners as slaves. The human military had kept them away from Council space for years. Now the pirates sensed weakness and were coming to feed. Back on Council Prime, Chairman Colthern was getting bad news from everywhere. His office was full of reports. From failing systems across Council space, the agricultural worlds are reporting crop failures, his aide said. The soil enhancement techniques developed by human scientist Greg Palmer are not working properly without constant adjustment. The medical stations are requesting emergency help, another aide added. 3 different plague outbreaks have started, and the alien doctors cannot create the vaccines without human medical knowledge. The communication relays between Sectors 7 and 12 have gone silent, a third aide reported. The quantum communication network is breaking down without human maintenance. Keltherin looked at the stack of emergency reports on his desk. Each one described a critical system that was failing because humans were no longer there to maintain it. How did we become so dependent on them? He asked. The humans were very good at solving problems, his chief aide explained. Whenever something broke or needed improvement, we asked them to fix it. Over 3 years, they became involved in almost every important system in Council space. But surely our own scientists and engineers can figure out how their technology works. The aide made a sound like wind through dry leaves, which meant he was very worried. The humans were always willing to teach us, sir. But we told them their methods were too complicated. Said we would develop our own versions of their technology when we had time. Did we? No, sir. We kept using their systems because they worked so well. Now those systems are failing, and we do not know how to fix them. Keltheron felt something he had never experienced before. For the first time in his long life, he was truly afraid. The great Galactic Council, which had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, was falling apart in just 3 weeks, all because they had driven away the one species that had been holding everything together. 2 months after the humans left, the galactic economy crashed completely. Trade ships stopped moving between star systems. Planets that depended on imported food began to starve. Worlds that sold their products to other systems had no buyers. The faster-than-light communication network had failed across 30 sectors. Without instant communication, it took weeks to arrange simple business deals that used to happen in minutes. On the trading world of Commerce Central, Administrator Felthex watched empty docking bays where hundreds of ships used to land every day. Now only a few local vessels came and went. "How many trade agreements have we lost this week?" he asked his assistant. "All of them, sir. The hegemony cannot communicate with the Spiral Federation. The Aquatic Collective has no way to contact their buyers in the Outer Rim. Everyone is confused about prices, delivery dates, and shipping routes." Felthex looked at the economic reports on his desk. Trade volume had dropped by 80%. Unemployment was rising on every world. "What about the backup communication systems?" "They're too slow, sir. It takes 3 days to send a message between nearby star systems. By the time traders get replies to their offers, the deals have expired or someone else has taken the contracts." The human-built communication relays had used quantum technology that could send messages instantly, across thousands of light years. The aliens had backup systems, but they were primitive compared to human innovation. Meanwhile, Dr. Helen Brooks sat in her new office on Luna Station, humanity's main base near Earth. Her personal communicator beeped constantly with desperate messages from alien doctors. "Dr. Brooks, please help us," said one message from a Zephyrian medical officer. "The plague has returned to our homeworld. Millions of our people are dying. We cannot make the adaptive vaccines without your guidance." Another message came from the Centauri system. "Our children are getting sick with the bone virus. The treatment you developed was working perfectly, but now we cannot produce more medicine. Please tell us what we are doing wrong." Helen read through dozens of similar messages. Diseases that had been controlled for months were coming back. Medical treatments that had saved lives were no longer working because alien doctors did not understand how to maintain them. She had trained her replacement, an Altarian scientist named Kexmore, for 6 months before leaving, but Kexmore had never really listened to her explanations. He thought alien medical science was superior to human methods. Now, Kexmore was sending panicked messages admitting he could not understand the basic principles of human immunological engineering. Helen deleted the messages without answering. The aliens had made their choice when they voted to restrict human expansion. Now they could live with the consequences. On the agricultural world of Proxima Verde, the situation was getting worse every day. Farmer Colvin walked through his dying fields. The crops that had grown beautifully for 2 years were now turning brown and withering. "The soil enhancement is not working," his assistant reported. "The microorganism balance is wrong. The nutrient delivery system has failed." Colvin knelt down and picked up a handful of dirt. It looked normal, but he knew it was missing something important. The human agricultural scientist Greg Palmer had taught them to add special bacteria and minerals to make the soil more productive. But the process was more complicated than anyone had realized. The bacteria needed exactly the right conditions. To survive, the minerals had to be added at specific times. The soil had to be tested and adjusted constantly. "Did Greg leave any detailed instructions?" Colvin asked. "Yes, but they are very technical. He wrote about soil chemistry, bacterial ecosystems, and nutrient cycles. Our agricultural specialists say the instructions are too complex to follow." Food shortages were spreading across 17 star systems. Worlds that had doubled their food production with human help were now producing less than before humans arrived. Captain Roy Thompson stood on the observation deck of Frontier Station, looking out at the edge of human space. He had been a mining engineer before the Exodus, but now he was helping to coordinate humanity's new borders. "Captain," his communications officer said, "we are receiving more requests for emergency assistance. The Corvian system is asking for help with their failing atmospheric processors. The Spiral Federation wants us to fix their broken space elevators." Roy watched human patrol ships moving along the border. Behind them lay human space, where everything worked properly. Ahead lay the chaos of former Council territory. "What is our official response to these requests?" the officer asked. "Same. As always," Roy replied. "We are not accepting any communications from Council space. They wanted us gone, so we are gone." Reports kept coming in about the breakdown of galactic civilization. Military conflicts were erupting as different species blamed each other for the crisis. Pirates attacked merchant ships that no longer had human military protection. Border disputes turned violent without human diplomats to help negotiate peace. The Galactic Council itself was falling apart. Over 200 species had withdrawn from the organization, claiming it could no longer provide basic services. Some were trying to make their own alliances. Others were closing their borders and refusing to trade with anyone. On Council Prime, Emergency Coordinator Melthagan read the latest disaster reports. The medical crisis had spread to 47 worlds. The communication breakdown affected 60 star systems. Food shortages threatened 38 planets. "How many people have died because of these failures?" she asked her staff. "The exact number is unknown," her aide replied, "but estimates suggest over 50 million casualties, from medical emergencies, infrastructure collapse, and military conflicts." Melthagan felt sick. 50 million people dead because the Council had been too proud to treat humans as equals. What about our own scientists and engineers? Can they not learn to maintain these systems? They are trying, but human technology is very advanced. It will take years to train our people properly. Some human innovations may be impossible for us to replicate. The truth was becoming clear to everyone. Humans had not just been helpful members of galactic society. They had been the engineers, innovators, problem solvers, who kept everything running smoothly. Without them, the galaxy was returning to a darker, more primitive time when different species could barely communicate with each other, let alone work together to solve common problems. The great galactic civilization that had lasted for thousands of years was crumbling in just a few months, all because they had underestimated the quiet humans who had been holding it all together. 6 months after humanity's departure, the Galactic Council was dying. The great meeting hall, where hundreds of species once gathered, now sat mostly empty. Only 37 delegates remained from the original 847 members. Counselor Vextek sat alone in his floating chair, staring at the empty seats around him. His tentacles hung limply as he read the latest reports. 3 more species had withdrawn from the Council this week. The Corvian Collective had declared independence. Spiral Federation had closed all its borders. "This is a disaster beyond measure," he whispered to himself. His aide approached nervously. "Sir, we have received the final economic analysis. Galactic GDP has fallen by 67%. Interstellar trade is down to 15% of pre-Exodus levels. Over 300 worlds are experiencing food shortages." Vextek made a sound like a dying whale. He was the same alien who had dismissed human concerns 6 months ago, calling them too aggressive and too new to galactic society. Now he was watching that society collapse around him. "What about the military situation? Worse than the economy, sir? Without human tactical support and technology, our peacekeeping forces cannot maintain order. 17 border wars have started. Pirate attacks have increased by 400%. The Zerathi pirates now control 12 star systems that used to be under Council protection." The numbers were devastating, but Vextek already knew the truth. Everything was falling apart, and there was only one reason why. The humans had been holding galactic civilization together, and nobody had realized it until they were gone. On Luna Station, Ambassador Jake Morrison sat in his office reading the flood of messages from his former colleagues. Every day brought new requests for help, new apologies, and increasingly desperate pleas for negotiation. His desk was covered with formal diplomatic communications. The Aquatic Collective wanted help with their underwater cities. The Hegemony needed assistance with their failing space elevators. The Medical Council was begging for help with multiple plague outbreaks. "Sir," his aide Kevin Martinez announced from the doorway, "we have received another emergency request. This time, it is from Chairman Coltheron himself." Jake looked up from the reports he was reading. "What does he want?" "He's requesting an immediate meeting with you. Says the entire Galactic Council is willing to come to Luna Station to negotiate." Jake leaned back in his chair. Through his office window, he could see Earth rising over Luna's horizon. It was a beautiful sight. That reminded him why he had fought so hard for human rights in the first place. "The entire council wants to come here." "Yes, sir. Chairman Coltheron says they are prepared to discuss any terms humanity requires." Jake smiled for the first time in months. 6 months ago, the council had treated humans like children who needed supervision. They had limited human expansion, controlled human trade, and refused to give humans equal voting rights. Now they were begging to come to human space as supplicants. "Schedule the meeting for next month," Jake said. "I'm Kevin. Make sure they understand that things will be different this time." "Different how, sir? They are coming to us now. We're not going to them. They will follow our rules, speak in our language, and listen to our terms. No more treating humans like junior partners." Meanwhile, the crisis in council space continued to worsen. On Kepler Station, Commander Vextoral was dealing with complete chaos. Translation system had failed so badly that different species could not communicate at all. Fights broke out daily in the marketplace. Ships left without completing their trade deals. The greatest commercial hub in the galaxy was becoming a ghost station. Commander, his security chief, reported, "Another merchant fleet is leaving. The captain says he cannot do business when nobody can understand each other." Vextoral looked out at the docking bays where only 12 ships remained. A year ago, over 300 ships would dock here every day. "Send a message to Luna Station," he ordered. "Tell the humans we need their help immediately." "We have sent 17 messages, sir. Humans are not responding to any communications from council space." On the agricultural world of Proxima Verde, people were starving. The enhanced crops that had fed billions were dead. The soil that had been so productive was now barren. Emergency Coordinator Dalrex walked through empty food distribution centers as people were eating emergency rations that would last only 2 more weeks. "About the other agricultural worlds?" he asked his assistant. "All experiencing similar failures, sir?" The human agricultural techniques were more complex than anyone understood. Without constant human supervision, the enhanced farming systems have collapsed everywhere. Dalrex felt hopeless. His people had enough food to survive for a short time, but winter was coming. Without a successful harvest, millions would die. 3 weeks later, Chairman Coltheron arrived at Luna Station with the largest diplomatic convoy in galactic history. 237 alien ships carried delegates from every remaining council species. They came not as conquerors or equals, but as desperate refugees seeking help from the species they had rejected. Jake Morrison met them in the main conference room of Luna Station. The room was smaller than the Grand Council chamber on Council Prime, but it was clean, functional, and impressive in its human efficiency. Coltheron looked much older than he had 6 months ago. His scales were dull, and his movements were slow. The stress of watching galactic civilization collapse had aged him terribly. Ambassador Morrison Coltheron began, "We come to you in humility and desperation. We were wrong to treat humanity as we did. We were wrong to limit your expansion and deny you equal rights. We were wrong about everything." Jake sat calmly across from the alien leader. "What exactly are you asking for, Chairman?" "We're asking for your forgiveness. We are asking for your help. We are asking for humanity to return to galactic society and help us rebuild what we have lost." Jake looked around the room at the assembled alien delegates. Many of them had voted to restrict human rights just 6 months ago. Now they sat quietly, waiting for his response. "The old council is dead," Jake said finally. "If humanity returns to galactic society, it will be as equals, not as supervised children." We want full voting rights, unrestricted expansion, fair trade agreements, and complete recognition of human territorial sovereignty. Yes, Caltheron said immediately. Anything you require.
We understand now that we need humanity far more.
Then humanity needs us. Jake smiled and looked out the window at Earth, the planet that had sent humans to the stars. Now watched as those same humans prepared to reshape the galaxy. Then let us discuss the terms of a new galactic order, he said, one built on mutual respect rather than arrogance. The negotiations took 2 months, but when they ended, humanity had won everything they had originally asked for, and much more. The new Galactic Federation gave humans equal status with the oldest species. Human technology became the foundation for rebuilding galactic civilization. Human diplomats helped negotiate peace between warring species. Most importantly, everyone in the galaxy learned a valuable lesson about taking their most important allies for granted. The humans had walked out, the galaxy had collapsed, and now everyone was working together to build something better from the ruins.